What would you do if you accidentally sent your darkest, most dangerous secret to a complete stranger? What if that stranger turned out to be the most feared man in the city? And what if he decided to save you, even though it could destroy everything he's built? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because today's story is going to take you on an emotional roller coaster you won't forget. This is a tale of survival, unexpected love, and the kind of courage that blooms in the darkest moments. Trust me, you'll want to hear every second of this. So get comfortable, and let's dive in. Chapter 1. Elena Rodriguez sat on the cold bathroom floor at 2 a.m, her phone trembling in her hands. The tiles were hard against her back, but not as hard as Marcus's fist had been against her ribs 3 hours earlier. She'd made the mistake of questioning where he'd been until midnight. The punishment was swift, brutal, and followed by his usual apology and flowers that were probably already being arranged for delivery in the morning. She couldn't breathe properly. Each inhale sent sharp pains through her chest. Broken or bruised, she wasn't sure anymore. As a nurse, she should go to the hospital, but Marcus worked there. His colleagues adored him. Dr. Marcus Chun, the brilliant young surgeon with the perfect smile and charitable heart. No one would believe her. They never did. Elena scrolled through her phone with shaking fingers, looking for the crisis helpline number she'd saved months ago, but never had the courage to call. Through blurred vision and tears, she found what she thought was the number and opened a new message thread. Her thumbs moved almost automatically, typing out words she'd never spoken aloud to anyone. I don't know if anyone will read this, but I need to tell someone before I lose my mind or my life. My fiancé is going to kill me. I know that sounds dramatic, but I mean it literally. He beats me. He controls every aspect of my life. But that's not even the worst part. 3 months ago, I was working a late shift at the hospital when I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. Marcus deliberately gave a patient the wrong medication during surgery. The patient died on the table. It was murder, and he knew I witnessed it. Now he has fabricated evidence that makes it look like I'm the one who made the fatal error. He says if I ever leave him or tell anyone about the abuse, he'll turn that evidence over to the police, and I'll go to prison for killing a patient. I'm trapped. I'm so tired of being afraid. I don't know what to do anymore. She hit send before she could change her mind, then curled into a ball on the bathroom floor and sobbed silently. Marcus was asleep in their bedroom. She'd learned to cry without making sound. 15 minutes passed. Elena had almost fallen into an exhausted sleep when her phone buzzed. Her heart jumped. The crisis helpline had responded. I'm listening. Tell me everything. Something about those 4 words broke through Elena's defenses. She started typing, and she couldn't stop. She told this stranger everything. About how Marcus had isolated her from her friends. How he controlled her bank accounts. How her mother's cancer treatment depended on Marcus's medical connections and money, which he reminded her of constantly. How she'd tried to leave once, and he'd found her within 6 hours. And that night had been the worst beating of her life. The stranger, who signed off simply as D, didn't respond with the usual platitudes. No, just leave him, or call the police. Instead, D asked specific questions. What hospital did Marcus work at? Did she have any documentation of her injuries? Where was the fabricated evidence stored? What were Marcus's patterns and schedules? Why are you asking all this? Elena typed. Because you're going to survive this. But you need to be smart. Start documenting everything. Take photos of every bruise, every injury, even if you think it's too small to matter. Save every threatening text, every controlling email. Keep a journal with dates and times. Store it all somewhere he can't access. Can you do that? I think so. But what good will documentation do? He has evidence that I killed someone. Fabricated evidence can be disproven. The truth has a way of surfacing. Trust me on this. How are your ribs? Do you think they're broken? Elena was startled by the sudden concern. I don't know. It hurts to breathe deeply. Can you safely go to a different hospital tomorrow? Not where he works. Tell them you fell downstairs. Get x-rays. That's documentation. My mother has a chemotherapy appointment tomorrow. Marcus always drives her. There was a longer pause this time. Then, what if his car had mechanical problems? What if he couldn't make it, and you had to take her yourself? You could stop at a different hospital, get checked out, and still make her appointment. Elena almost laughed at the absurdity. His car is brand new. It won't just break down. You'd be surprised what can happen. Get some sleep, Elena. Text me when you wake up. You're not alone anymore. Wait, how do you know my name? It's on your phone's contact card. I'm Dante, but you can keep calling me D if you prefer. Elena stared at her phone. She'd just poured her heart out to a complete stranger. It should have terrified her, but instead, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. She crawled into the guest bedroom, the one Marcus allowed her to sleep in when he was disappointed in her, and closed her eyes. For the first time in months, she slept without nightmares. The next morning, Marcus's car wouldn't start. The engine made a horrible grinding sound, and after 20 minutes of trying, he slammed his fist on the steering wheel in frustration. Take your car and drive your mother yourself, he snapped at Elena. And don't even think about discussing our private business with her. Remember what happens when you embarrass me. Elena nodded meekly, but her heart was racing. She grabbed her keys, helped her mother into the car, and as she drove, she kept replaying Dee's message in her mind. You'd be surprised what can happen. What kind of person could make someone's car break down overnight? And more importantly, what kind of person had she accidentally texted? Elena pushed the thought away. Right now, she didn't care. For the first time in 2 years, Marcus's control over her day had slipped, even just slightly. She made a detour to a hospital across town, told them she'd fallen down the stairs, and got her ribs examined. 2 fractures. The doctor gave her concerned looks and a social worker's card. Elena took it all, documentation building with every moment. That night, she texted Dee a simple message. Thank you. I don't know how you did that, but thank you. His response came immediately. I told you. You're not alone anymore. Now, tell me more about this evidence Marcus has on you. Every detail matters. And Elena did. She told this mysterious stranger everything, having no idea that on the other end of those messages was Dante Moretti, a man whose name made hardened criminals cross themselves and pray. A man who had just decided that Elena Rodriguez was now under his protection, whether she knew it or not. And Marcus Chun had just become a dead man walking. Chapter 2. Elena's life began to change in small, strange ways that she couldn't quite explain. The colleague who had been sexually harassing her at the hospital for months, always cornering her in empty hallways and making crude comments, suddenly stopped showing up to work. She heard through gossip that he'd requested an urgent transfer to a hospital in another state. No explanation given. He just left overnight. Marcus's best friend, the one who always covered for him and provided him with alibis, got arrested for a DUI. Elena knew the man barely drank. It didn't make sense, but she wasn't complaining. With his friend in legal trouble, Marcus was more distracted, less focused on controlling her every movement. Her mother's cancer doctor, the one Marcus had personally selected and who Elena always suspected was reporting back to Marcus about their conversations, suddenly retired. The new doctor was kind, genuinely caring, and seemed to actually listen when Elena asked questions about her mother's treatment plan. Every night, Elena texted with Dee. Their conversations had evolved from crisis management to something deeper. He asked about her childhood, her dreams, what she'd wanted to be before Marcus had stripped away her identity. She found herself laughing at his dry humor, looking forward to the moment each night when her phone would buzz with his messages. Did you always want to be a nurse? Dee asked one night. I wanted to be a doctor, actually. But medical school was expensive, and then I met Marcus during my nursing program. He said he'd help me apply to medical school after we got married. That was 4 years ago. Now he says I'm not smart enough, that I should be grateful I have any job at all. You're one of the smartest people I've ever talked to, Elena. And I've talked to a lot of people. You don't even know me. Not really. I know you've survived years of abuse and still show up every day to care for sick people. I know you're protecting your mother at the cost of your own safety. I know you witnessed a murder, and instead of pretending you didn't see it, you carry that guilt because you're a good person. I know enough. Elena stared at those words for a long time. Marcus told her daily that she was stupid, worthless, lucky that anyone would want her. But Dee saw something different. It made her want to cry and smile at the same time. What Elena didn't know was that Dante Moretti wasn't just texting her. He was orchestrating her protection like a master puppeteer, pulling invisible strings throughout the city. The harassing colleague hadn't requested a transfer. He'd been given a choice by 2 of Dante's men who visited him at midnight. Leave the state voluntarily or leave it in pieces. He chose wisely. Marcus's friend hadn't been driving drunk. Dante's people had planted evidence and made an anonymous call to the police. The The man would be tied up in legal problems for months, unable to help Marcus with whatever he was planning. And the retiring doctor? He'd been paid a substantial sum to step away and had been replaced by a physician on Dante's payroll, someone who would actually monitor Elena's mother's treatment properly. Dante sat in his office in the Moretti family mansion, surrounded by monitors showing security footage from various locations around the city. One screen showed Elena's apartment building. Another showed the hospital where she worked. A third showed Marcus's home. Dante had eyes everywhere. His second-in-command, a scarred man named Luca, stood beside him holding a thick file. "Boss, we've finished the deep investigation on Marcus Chun like you asked. It's worse than we thought." Dante's jaw tightened. "Show me." Luca spread photographs and documents across the desk. Marcus Chun isn't just an abusive boyfriend. He's connected to the Vitali family. You know them, the ones trying to move into our territory. Marcus works as their inside man at the hospital. He's been facilitating organ trafficking for 3 years. Dante's hands curled into fists. The Vitalas were his oldest enemies, responsible for countless deaths and misery in his city. Explain. The patient Elena saw him kill? That wasn't murder for fun. That patient was a match for a kidney that a very wealthy client wanted. Marcus deliberately killed the patient and harvested the organs. He's done it at least 15 times that we can confirm. The hospital thinks these are just unfortunate surgical complications. Marcus is careful, and he's got people covering for him. And Elena witnessed one of these murders. Yes, which means the Vitales know about her. Marcus has probably already told them. She's a loose end they'll want tied up. Dante stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. How long until the wedding? 3 months. Why? Because Marcus won't wait that long. If Elena is a liability to the Vitales operation, they'll order Marcus to eliminate her. The wedding is probably his cover. Make it look like an accident during the honeymoon. Dante's voice was cold, lethal. Increase surveillance. I want men watching her 24 hours a day. If Marcus so much as looks at her wrong, I want to know about it. Luca hesitated. Boss, with all due respect, why are we devoting this much resources to one woman? You've never even met her. Dante turned to face his oldest friend, and Luca actually took a step back at the intensity in his eyes. She reached out for help, and her message found me. That means something. And she's innocent, caught in a nightmare because she witnessed something she shouldn't have. The Vitales are using her, Marcus is torturing her, and no one is protecting her. So I will. You care about her. I care about justice. Now go. I want updates every 6 hours. After Luca left, Dante picked up his phone and looked at his message thread with Elena. She'd sent him a photo earlier that day of a sunset she'd seen on her drive home from work. Something beautiful for you, her message had said. Since I keep dumping all my darkness on you, you deserve some light. Dante saved the photo. In his world of violence, betrayal, and blood, Elena was something pure. Something worth protecting. He'd built an empire on fear and power, but this woman who'd accidentally texted him in her darkest moment made him want to be better. His phone buzzed. A new message from Elena. D, something weird happened today. Marcus told me we're moving the wedding up. He wants to get married in 3 weeks instead of 3 months. He says he can't wait to make me his wife. But the way he said it, the look in his eyes, it scared me. I think something bad is coming. I can feel it. Dante's blood ran cold. 3 weeks. Marcus was accelerating his timeline, which meant the Vitales had given him orders. Elena was running out of time. He typed quickly. Listen to me very carefully. Do not drink anything Marcus gives you. Don't eat food he prepares. Lock your bedroom door at night. Can you do that? You're scaring me. What's going on? I need you to trust me. Can you get access to Marcus's computer or phone? I need to see that evidence he has against you. He keeps his laptop in his home office. It's password protected. Can you get into that office? Maybe. He's doing a surgery tomorrow that usually takes 4 hours. I could try then. Do it. Take photos of everything you find. Every file, every document. Send them to me. D, who are you? How do you know all this stuff? Sometimes I feel like you're not just a normal person who accidentally got my text. Dante stared at that message for a long moment. He should tell her the truth. That he was Dante Moretti, the Mafia king who controlled half the city's underground. That he had men following her, protecting her from shadows. That he'd been investigating every aspect of her life and Marcus's operation. But if he told her, she might panic. She might stop trusting him. And right now, her trust was the only thing keeping her safe and cooperative. I'm someone who wants to help you. That's all that matters right now. Tomorrow, get me those files. We're running out of time, Elena. Okay, I trust you. I don't know why, but I do. Dante closed his eyes. She trusted him. This innocent woman who'd suffered so much trusted a man whose hands were stained with blood, who'd killed more people than he could count, who'd built his power on violence and fear. He wouldn't let her down. Whatever it took, he would save Elena Rodriguez from the monsters hunting her. Even if she eventually learned that he was a monster too. Chapter 3. Elena's hands shook as she stood outside Marcus's home office. She could hear the silence of the empty house pressing in around her. Marcus had left for the hospital 2 hours ago for a complicated surgery. She'd watched him drive away, counting the minutes until she felt safe enough to move. The office door was locked, but Elena had learned all of Marcus's hiding places over the years. He kept a spare key taped under his desk in the living room, arrogant enough to think she'd never dare go looking. She found it exactly where she expected, the small piece of metal feeling impossibly heavy in her palm. Her phone buzzed. A text from D. Are you in yet? About to be. I'm terrified. You can do this. I'm right here with you. Elena unlocked the door and slipped inside. Marcus's office was obsessively organized. Everything had its place, controlled and perfect, just like he tried to control her. She went straight to his laptop on the desk and opened it. The password screen appeared. She tried his birthday. Wrong. She tried her birthday. Wrong. She tried his mother's name. Wrong. Her heart pounded harder with each failed attempt. What if the laptop locked her out? What if it sent him an alert? Then she remembered something. Marcus's medical license number. He was so proud of it that he'd had it engraved on his watch. She typed in the numbers with trembling fingers. The laptop unlocked. Elena released a breath she didn't know she'd been holding and immediately started searching through his files. She found a folder labeled insurance and opened it. Inside were dozens of documents, but one file made her blood run cold. Elena_evidence.pdf. She opened it. Page after page of fabricated medical records, forged signatures, manipulated drug logs, all carefully constructed to make it look like she had been the one to administer the fatal medication to the patient who died. Marcus had been building this case against her for months, creating an airtight frame job. But there was more. As Elena scrolled through the folders, she found communications with people she didn't recognize. Emails discussing merchandise and donors and clients. There were spreadsheets with names, blood types, organ matches, and payment amounts that made her stomach turn. Hundreds of thousands of dollars per transaction. Marcus wasn't just a murderer. He was running an organized organ trafficking operation. Elena grabbed her phone and started photographing everything, her hands shaking so badly that some of the photos came out blurry. She had to retake them. Every second felt like an eternity. Every creak of the house made her jump. She was photographing the last document when she heard it. The sound of a car in the driveway. Marcus was home early. Panic seized Elena's chest. She quickly closed all the folders, shut the laptop, and shoved her phone in her pocket. She could hear the front door opening. His footsteps in the hallway. She looked around the office desperately. There was no other exit. No window large enough to climb through. She was trapped. The footsteps were coming closer. Elena made a split-second decision. She unlocked the office door from the inside, slipped out, and pressed herself against the wall beside the door, praying he wouldn't notice it was unlocked. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it might burst from her chest. Marcus walked past her, heading toward the kitchen. He was on his phone, talking to someone. The surgery was canceled. Patient got cold feet about the donation. His voice was irritated. No, we can't force it. Too risky. We'll find another match. Elena waited until he was fully in the kitchen, then moved as quietly as possible toward the front door. She was 3 steps away when her phone buzzed loudly in her pocket. A text notification. She froze. The talking in the kitchen stopped. Elena? Is that you? She ran. She grabbed her purse from the entry table and bolted out the front door, hearing Marcus shout behind her. She got to her car, her fingers fumbling with the keys, and finally got the door open. She started the engine just as Marcus appeared in the doorway. Their eyes met through the windshield. The look on his face was pure rage. Elena threw the car in reverse and sped away, her entire body shaking. She drove aimlessly for 20 minutes, checking her rearview mirror constantly, before pulling into a grocery store parking lot. She sat there, trying to catch her breath, trying to stop shaking. Her phone rang. Marcus. She didn't answer. It rang again. And again. Then the texts started coming. Where are you? Elena, answer me right now. You're being dramatic. Come home so we can talk. I know what you did. I know you were in my office. Elena's blood turned to ice at that last message. He knew. Somehow he knew. Her phone rang again, but this time it was a number she didn't recognize. She answered it hesitantly. Elena, it's me. D. The voice was deep, commanding, nothing like she'd imagined. I need you to listen very carefully. Do not go home. Do not go to your mother's house. Marcus knows you accessed his files. How do you know that? How did you get this number? That doesn't matter right now. What matters is that you're in immediate danger. I'm sending you an address. Drive there now. You'll be safe. I can't just go to some strange address. I don't even know who you really are. Elena, I'm the person who's been protecting you for weeks. I'm the person who's going to keep you alive. But I need you to trust me right now. Please. Something in his voice made her believe him. Elena looked at her phone as an address came through in a text. It was across town, in an area she'd never been to. Okay, she whispered. I'm coming. She started driving, but before she'd gone 2 miles, Marcus called again. This time, she answered. Elena, sweetheart, I'm sorry I scared you. His voice was sickeningly sweet now, the tone he used when he was trying to manipulate her. Come home. We need to talk about the wedding. I can't, Marcus. I need some space. Space? His voice hardened. You don't get space. You get to come home right now, or your mother's next chemotherapy appointment gets canceled. Permanently. Elena's hands tightened on the steering wheel. What are you talking about? Your mother's treatment. The treatment I've been paying for. The treatment I've been arranging. Did you really think her insurance covered all of it? I've been supplementing thousands of dollars, Elena. And I can make one phone call and have it all stopped. Tears burned Elena's eyes. You wouldn't. Try me. Come home now, and we'll forget this little episode. Or keep driving and your mother dies. Your choice. The call ended. Elena pulled over onto the side of the road, sobbing. Everything was falling apart. She'd been so stupid to think she could outsmart Marcus. Now her mother's life hung in the balance. Her phone rang again. D. He threatened your mother, didn't he? Dee's voice was tight with anger. How did you know? Because men like Marcus always go for what you love most. Elena, I need to tell you something about your mother's treatment. What about it? I had one of my people look into her medical records. Elena, your mother doesn't have cancer. The world seemed to tilt. What? She never had cancer. Marcus has been poisoning her. Small doses of toxins that mimic cancer symptoms. The chemotherapy she's been receiving? It's just saline and mild sedatives. He created this entire scenario to control you. Your mother is sick because of him, not because of cancer. Elena couldn't breathe. The manipulation was so much worse than she'd ever imagined. Marcus had made her watch her mother suffer, had used that suffering as chains to keep Elena trapped, and it had all been fake. All been a twisted game of control. I'm going to kill him, she whispered. No, you're not. I am. But first, we need to get you somewhere safe. Are you still driving to the address I sent? My mother is being moved to a secure medical facility as we speak. I have people with her right now. She's safe, Elena. I promised you that you weren't alone, and I meant it. Now please drive to the address. Let me protect you. Elena wiped her tears and started driving again. She had so many questions. Who is Dee really? How did he have the resources to move her mother and access medical records? How had he been protecting her all this time? But right now, none of that mattered. Marcus had taken everything from her. Her freedom, her dignity, her sense of self. He'd poisoned her mother and framed her for murder. He'd planned to marry her and then kill her. But he'd made one critical mistake. He'd pushed her far enough that she'd reached out for help. And that help had found her in the form of a mysterious stranger who seemed to have unlimited resources and a determination to keep her safe. Elena didn't know it yet, but she was about to meet the most dangerous man in the city. And her life would never be the same. Chapter 4. 2 weeks had passed since Elena drove to the address Dee had given her. 2 weeks since armed men had taken her mother from her home to a private medical facility. 2 weeks since Elena had gone into hiding in a safe house, waiting for Dee to dismantle Marcus's operation. But Marcus had moved faster than anyone expected. He'd filed a missing persons report. He'd gone on local news, crying about his missing fiancé, playing the worried lover perfectly. He'd claimed Elena was having a mental breakdown, that she was off her medications, that she was dangerous to herself. The police were looking for her. Her face was on the news. Then Marcus had done the unthinkable. He'd sent a message through Elena's old phone, the one she'd left behind. I have leverage you don't know about. If you're not at our wedding this Saturday, 5 patients at the hospital will die. I've already contaminated their 4 medications. Only I know which 5. Only I can stop it. Your choice, Elena. Marry me, or their blood is on your hands. Elena had shown the message to Dee during one of their brief phone calls. His silence had been terrifying. He's bluffing, Dee had finally said. What if he's not? What if people die because of me? Elena, if you go to that wedding, you will die. He's planning to kill you. We know this. Then let him. I can't have innocent people's deaths on my conscience. I've already watched him kill 1 person. I can't let him kill 5 more. No, absolutely not. We'll find another way. But there was no other way. Marcus had checked every 4 medication personally that morning. Hospital security footage showed him in the medication room alone for 20 minutes. If he'd really contaminated something, finding which medications and which patients would take too long. Now Elena stood in a small room at the back of a church, wearing the wedding dress Marcus had chosen for her. It was beautiful and felt like a burial shroud. Makeup covered the new bruises on her arms from where Marcus's men had collected her that morning. They'd found the safe house. She'd never learned how. Her mother was still safe, Dee had assured her of that. But Elena was out of options and out of time. The wedding coordinator peeked in. 5 minutes, dear. You look beautiful. Elena looked at herself in the mirror. She looked like a ghost. She picked up her phone and typed one final message to Dee. I'm sorry. Thank you for trying to save me. You're a good man, whoever you are. Don't blame yourself for this. She turned off her phone and placed it in her purse. It was time. The church was packed. Marcus had invited everyone he knew, all the people who thought he was wonderful, colleagues from the hospital, his family, friends. They all smiled at Elena as she walked down the aisle on the arm of Marcus's father, since her own father was long dead. Marcus stood at the altar in an expensive suit, smiling that perfect smile. But his eyes were cold. Dead. This was a performance for him, and Elena was just a prop in his final act. The ceremony began. Elena barely heard the words. She was saying goodbye to everything. To her dreams. To her mother. To the mysterious man who'd tried to save her. To life itself. If anyone objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace, the officiant said. The church was silent. Elena closed her eyes. This was it. After this, there would be a reception, then a honeymoon that she would never return from. Marcus would make it look like an accident. Drowning, maybe. Or a fall. Something tragic that would make people comfort him in his grief. Then the church doors exploded open with a sound like thunder. Elena's eyes snapped open. Everyone turned to look. A man stood in the doorway, backlit by the afternoon sun. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing an all-black suit that probably cost more than Elena made in a year. But it was his face that made her heart stop. Sharp features, dark eyes that seemed to see everything, and an expression of barely controlled rage. Behind him stood at least 20 men, all armed with guns that they didn't bother hiding. I object, the man said. His voice was calm, almost pleasant, but it carried through the entire church like a promise of violence. People started screaming. Guests ducked behind pews. Marcus's security team, 3 men positioned around the church, reached for their weapons. They never cleared their holsters. The armed men behind the stranger shot them with perfect precision. Not killing shots, but the 3 security guards went down clutching wounded shoulders and legs, their guns clattering across the marble floor. The stranger walked down the aisle like he owned the world. Maybe he did. Elena couldn't move, couldn't breathe. She knew that face. She'd seen it on the news, in newspapers, whispered about in fearful tones. Dante Moretti, the Mafia king. He wasn't just some helpful stranger. He was the most dangerous criminal in the city. Step away from her, Marcus. Dante's voice was soft now, but somehow more terrifying. Marcus grabbed Elena, spinning her in front of him as a human shield. She felt cold metal press against her temple. He'd pulled a gun from somewhere. Not another step, Moretti, or I blow her brains out right here. The church had gone deadly silent except for muffled crying. Dante stopped walking, but his eyes never left Elena's face. She saw something in those eyes that shocked her. Concern. Real, genuine fear for her safety. You know who I am, Dante said. Everyone knows who you are. Question is, why does the great Dante Moretti care about my fiancé? She's not your fiancé. She's your prisoner. And your time is up. Marcus laughed, the sound unhinged. You think you can just walk in here and take her? She came willingly. She said yes to marrying me. Tell him, Elena. Tell him you want to be here. The gun pressed harder against her head. Elena knew what Marcus wanted. He wanted her to save him, to lie, to play along one more time. Instead, she said, his name is Marcus Chun, and he's a murderer. He runs an organ trafficking operation out of City General Hospital. He kills patients and sells their organs. He's killed at least 15 people that I know of. And he was planning to kill me after this wedding. Marcus's hand tightened in her hair, yanking her head back painfully. Shut up. He's been poisoning my mother for 2 years, making her think she has cancer, so he could control me. He framed me for murder to keep me trapped. And he's the one who contaminated medications at the hospital this morning. He's going to let 5 patients die unless someone stops him. I said, shut up. Marcus screamed. Everything happened at once. A red dot appeared on Marcus's forehead. Elena realized it was a laser sight from a sniper somewhere in the church. Dante made a slight gesture with his hand. The shot rang out. Marcus's grip on Elena went slack. She felt him falling behind her. She spun around and saw him on the ground, a neat hole in his forehead, his eyes staring at nothing. Elena's legs gave out. Strong arms caught her before she hit the ground. She looked up into Dante Moretti's face, seeing him clearly for the first time. I've got you, he said softly. You're safe now. The patients. The contaminated medications. He said 5 people. Already handled. My people were at the hospital the moment you walked into this church. Every 4 medication has been replaced. No one is going to die. My mother is healthy and safe. The doctors have been treating the poisoning. She's asking for you. Elena started to cry, great heaving sobs that shook her entire body. Dante lifted her effortlessly in his arms and started carrying her down the aisle, away from Marcus's body, away from the horrified wedding guests, away from the nightmare her life had been. Police sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. We need to go, one of Dante's men said urgently. Dante nodded and carried Elena out of the church into the sunlight. A fleet of black cars waited outside. He placed her gently in the back of one, sliding in beside her. Wait, Elena said, finding her voice. You're Dante Moretti. You're a criminal. The police won't touch you. As far as they're concerned, you were a hostage in a situation that went bad. Marcus Chen's operation will be exposed. Everything he did, everyone he worked with, it's all going to come to light. You're the victim here, Elena. Not the criminal. But you killed him. In front of everyone. Dante's expression didn't change. Yes, I did. And I'd do it again. He was going to kill you. Elena should have been terrified. She was sitting next to a Mafia king who'd just murdered her fiancé in a church. But all she felt was overwhelming relief and a confusing sense of safety. You're D, she whispered. All this time, I've been texting the most dangerous man in the city. Yes. Why? Why did you help me? Dante looked at her, and for just a moment, his carefully controlled expression cracked. She saw something raw and honest in his eyes. Because you asked for help, and your message found me. Because you deserved better than what that monster was doing to you. Because. He paused, seeming to struggle with the words. Because from the first message you sent, I couldn't stop thinking about you. Couldn't stop wanting to protect you. The car started moving, carrying them away from the church, away from Marcus, away from everything. Elena knew she should ask more questions. Should demand answers. Should be afraid. Instead, she leaned against Dante's shoulder and closed her eyes, feeling safe for the first time in years. Outside the car, the world was chaos. But inside, for this one moment, there was peace. The nightmare was over. But Elena's story with Dante Moretti was just beginning. Chapter 5. What would happen if you escaped one prison only to find yourself locked in another? But this time your captor was the man who saved your life. Elena woke up in a bed so soft it felt like sleeping on clouds. For a confused moment, she thought the wedding, the shooting, all of it had been a nightmare. Then she opened her eyes and saw the room around her. It was enormous, 3 times the size of her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed a sprawling estate with manicured gardens. The furniture looked antique and expensive. Everything was decorated in cream and gold, beautiful and cold, and nothing like anything she'd ever owned. She sat up, realizing she was wearing silk pajamas she didn't remember putting on. The wedding dress was gone. Her heart started racing. Where was she? How long had she been asleep? The door opened, and a woman in her 50s entered, carrying a breakfast tray. "Oh good, you're awake. Mr. Moretti said to let you sleep as long as you needed. You've been out for 14 hours. The woman set the tray on the bedside table. She had kind eyes and a warm smile. "I'm Maria, the housekeeper. There are clothes in the closet for you, all in your size. Mr. Moretti will want to speak with you once you've eaten and dressed." "Wait," Elena said. "Where am I?" "The Moretti estate. You're safe here, dear. No one can touch you." Maria headed for the door. "I want to see my mother." Maria turned back, her smile sympathetic. "She's here too. 3 doors down the hall. The doctors say she's responding well to treatment. You can visit her after you eat. Doctor's orders." Then she was gone, and Elena was alone again. She ate because her body demanded it, though she barely tasted the food. Then she showered in a bathroom that was bigger than her old bedroom, and dressed in jeans and a soft sweater she found in the closet. Everything fit perfectly, which somehow made her more uneasy. She found her mother's room exactly where Maria said it would be. Her mother was sleeping, looking more peaceful than Elena had seen her in months. A nurse sat in the corner, monitoring machines that beeped softly. Elena sat beside the bed and took her mother's hand. It was warm and steady, not the frail, cold hand she'd held during those fake chemotherapy sessions. "I'm so sorry, Mom," she whispered. "I should have known. I should have protected you. You did protect me." Her mother's eyes fluttered open. She smiled weakly. "You survived him, baby. That's all I ever wanted." They held each other and cried, releasing years of fear and pain. The nurse quietly left the room to give them privacy. "Where are we?" her mother finally asked. "Dante Moretti's estate. He's the one who saved us." Her mother's eyes widened. "The Mafia king? Elena, we need to leave. These people are dangerous." "More dangerous than Marcus?" Her mother didn't have an answer for that. A knock on the door interrupted them. Elena turned to see Dante standing in the doorway. In daylight, without the chaos of the church, she could really look at him. He was younger than she expected, maybe mid-30s. Handsome in a sharp, dangerous way. He wore a simple black shirt and pants, but he carried himself like royalty. "I'm sorry to interrupt. Elena, when you're ready, I need to speak with you. My office is downstairs, first door on the left." He left before she could respond. Elena kissed her mother's forehead. "Get some rest. I'll be back soon." She found Dante's office easily. It was massive, lined with bookshelves and dominated by a huge desk with multiple computer monitors. Dante stood at the window, looking out at the grounds. "Sit, please." He gestured to a leather chair. Elena remained standing. "I want to thank you for saving my life. And my mother's life. But I need to know what happens now. Are we prisoners here?" Dante turned to face her, his expression unreadable. "Do you feel like a prisoner?" "I don't know what I feel. Yesterday I was about to die. Today I'm in a mansion with a mafia king. It's a lot to process." "Fair enough. Let me be direct then. Marcus was working for the Vitali family, my enemies. They ran the organ trafficking operation through him. Now that Marcus is dead and you witnessed their operation, they consider you a liability. There's a contract out on your life. $500,000 to whoever kills you." Elena's legs suddenly felt weak. She sat down. "You can't leave this estate," Dante continued. "Not until I've dismantled the entire Vitali operation and eliminated the threat against you. That could take weeks, maybe months. So I am a prisoner. You're under protection. There's a difference." "Is there?" Elena stood again, anger flooding through her. "I just escaped one man who controlled every aspect of my life. Now you're telling me I can't leave? That I have to stay here indefinitely? How is that different?" Dante's jaw tightened. "Marcus would have killed you. I'm trying to keep you alive. By locking me in a golden cage? I appreciate what you did, but I won't trade one prison for another. This isn't up for debate." "Yes, it is. You don't own me, Dante. No one owns me anymore." Elena stormed toward the door. She'd find her mother, and they'd leave together. She didn't care about contracts or threats. She was done being controlled. She got the door open 3 inches before Dante's hand slammed it shut above her head. She spun around to find him right behind her, close enough that she could feel the heat coming off his body. "You want to leave? Fine. Walk out that door. See how long you survive. The Vitales have people everywhere. In the police. In the hospitals. In every corner of this city. You'll be dead within 48 hours, and I'll have failed to protect you. That's my choice to make. Not when I've invested this much in keeping you alive. They glared at each other, both breathing hard. Elena realized this was the first time she'd seen real emotion crack through Dante's controlled exterior. He wasn't just being a controlling criminal. He was genuinely afraid for her safety. I can't be locked up again, she said quietly. I can't, even if it's for my own good. Do you understand? Marcus controlled where I went, who I saw, what I wore. I won't go back to that. I'd rather die free than live in another cage. Something in Dante's expression softened. He stepped back, giving her space. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm not good at this. At what? Caring about someone. I usually just give orders and people follow them. But you're not one of my soldiers. You're. He paused, seeming to struggle for words. You're important to me. More important than you should be. Before Elena could respond to that, an alarm started blaring throughout the house. Red lights flashed in the hallway. Dante's entire demeanor changed instantly. He pulled a gun from somewhere and moved to the window. Get down. What's happening? The estate is under attack. Elena hit the floor as the window exploded inward in a shower of glass. Gunfire erupted from outside. Dante returned fire calmly, efficiently, like this was just another day at the office. The office door burst open. Luca, the scarred man Elena had seen at the church, rushed in. Boss, they breached the south wall. At least 20 men. It's the Vitales. They're going for the girl. How did they find her? Dante demanded. We're checking for leaks now. What are your orders? More gunfire. Shouting. The sounds of a small war erupting around them. Dante grabbed Elena's arm and pulled her up. We're moving her to the safe room. They ran through the mansion, Dante's men forming a protective barrier around them. Elena saw bodies on the floor, both Dante's men and attackers. Blood stained the expensive carpets. The beautiful house had become a war zone. They were halfway to the safe room when attackers burst through a side door. Dante shoved Elena behind him and started shooting. His men engaged the enemy. The hallway became chaos. Elena saw one of the attackers aim directly at Dante's back. Time seemed to slow down. Without thinking, she screamed, "Behind you!" Dante spun, but not fast enough. The shot rang out, and Dante fell, blood blooming across his shoulder. No! Elena dropped beside him. Her nursing training kicked in automatically. She pressed her hands against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. Luca and the other men eliminated the remaining attackers. Then Luca was beside her, helping her apply pressure. We need to get him to the medical wing, Elena said. Now! The bullet might have hit an artery. They carried Dante through the mansion as the gunfire finally began to die down. The attack was being repelled, but the damage was done. In the medical wing, Elena worked alongside Dante's private doctor to stabilize him. Her hands were covered in his blood. The man who'd saved her life was now bleeding because of her. Because he'd been protecting her. For hours later, Dante was stable and sleeping. The bullet had missed the artery by inches. He'd been incredibly lucky. Elena sat beside his bed, holding his hand, watching him breathe. He looked different when he was unconscious. Younger. Less dangerous. Almost vulnerable. I'm sorry, she whispered. You were right. I can't leave. Not yet. But not because you're forcing me. Because I choose to stay. Because you took a bullet protecting me, and I'm not going to let that be for nothing. Dante's eyes fluttered open. He looked at her, his gaze unfocused from the pain medication. Stay, he murmured. I will. Not just until it's safe. Stay with me. Elena's breath caught. She didn't know if it was the medication talking or something real. But she squeezed his hand and said, Let's focus on keeping you alive first. A small smile crossed his face. Deal. He drifted back to sleep, but he didn't let go of her hand. And Elena didn't pull away. Chapter 6. Dante recovered quickly. Within 3 days, he was back on his feet, though Elena could see him wince when he moved his shoulder. He refused to rest, insisting he needed to hunt down whoever had leaked Elena's location to the Vitales. Elena spent those days learning about the world Dante lived in. She watched as he conducted business from his office, speaking in code about shipments and territories and debts. She saw the respect and fear in his men's eyes when they looked at him. She began to understand that Dante Moretti wasn't just a criminal. He was a king ruling an invisible empire. But she also saw the other side. The way he visited injured men in the medical wing personally. How he made sure the families of men who died in the attack were taken care of financially. The strict rules he had about his operations. No drugs sold to kids, no human trafficking, no violence against innocents. "You're not what I expected," Elena told him one evening as they sat in his office. "What did you expect? A monster, I guess. But you have rules. Lines you won't cross." Dante looked up from the documents he was reviewing. "I'm still a monster, Elena. Don't mistake having principles for being good. I've killed more people than I can count. I've destroyed lives. The fact that I draw some lines doesn't make me a hero. You saved me. That doesn't balance the scales." Before Elena could respond, Luca burst into the office without knocking. His face was pale. "Boss, we found the leak. You're not going to like it. Show me." Luca set a laptop on the desk and turned it toward Dante. Elena moved closer to see. On the screen was security footage from inside the mansion, specifically the medical wing where Elena's mother was staying. The timestamp showed the day of the attack, 2 hours before it happened. A nurse, not one Elena recognized, entered her mother's room alone. The nurse pulled out a phone and made a call, speaking for several minutes while looking directly at the security camera. "She wanted to be caught," Dante said quietly. "This was intentional. We picked her up an hour ago," Luca said. "She's in the basement waiting for interrogation. But boss, there's more. We ran her fingerprints. Her real name is Sarah Vitali. She's Victor Vitali's niece." Dante's expression turned deadly. "She infiltrated my house. It gets worse. We checked her employment records. She's been working at City General Hospital for 3 years. The same hospital where Marcus worked." Elena felt ice spread through her veins. She knew Marcus. "We think she was his contact with the Vitali family," Luca confirmed. "She probably helped him identify patients for the organ trafficking." "I want to talk to her," Elena said suddenly. Both men looked at her. "Absolutely not," Dante said. "She worked with Marcus. She might know things about his operation that could help clear my name completely. The police still have questions about the patient who died. If she can confirm Marcus was working for the Vitales, it strengthens my case." Dante studied her for a long moment. "It's too dangerous. I'm not asking permission. I'm telling you I'm going down there. You can either come with me or try to stop me." A smile tugged at the corner of Dante's mouth. "You're terrifying when you're determined. Has anyone told you that?" "Not recently." "Fine. But I'm going with you, and we do this my way." The basement of the Moretti mansion was exactly what Elena expected. Cold concrete, dim lighting, and the smell of fear. Sarah Vitali sat in a chair in the center of an empty room, her hands zip-tied behind her back. She looked young, maybe 25, with dark hair and calculating eyes. Those eyes widened when she saw Elena. The famous Elena Rodriguez. "Marcus talked about you constantly. Said you were weak. Pathetic. Looks like he was wrong." Elena stepped closer, fighting to keep her voice steady. "You helped him kill people. I helped facilitate business transactions. There's a difference. People died. People die every day. At least these deaths served a purpose. Do you know how much money a single kidney can bring? How about a heart? A liver? We were providing a service to wealthy clients while making use of resources that would have been wasted otherwise." "Resources?" Elena's voice rose. "You mean human beings? Patients who trusted their doctors." Sarah shrugged. "If it makes you feel better to be self-righteous about it, go ahead. But your precious Marcus was just as involved as I was. More, actually. He enjoyed it, especially toward the end." Dante stepped forward, his presence filling the room with menace. "Tell us about the Vitali operation. Names, locations, how deep it goes." Sarah laughed. "You think I'm going to betray my family? You're even dumber than I thought, Moretti. You're already dead. The question is whether it's quick or slow. Talk, and I'll make it painless. You won't kill me. I'm a Vitali. Kill me, and you start a war you can't win." "We're already at war," Dante said softly. "You attacked my home. You tried to kill someone under my protection. There's no walking back from that." Something flickered in Sarah's eyes. Fear finally breaking through her bravado. Elena had an idea. "What if we could offer you something better than a quick death?" Dante glanced at her sharply, but Elena continued. "Immunity. Witness protection. A new life away from your family. All you have to do is testify against the Vitales and tell us everything about the organ trafficking operation." Sarah laughed again, but it sounded hollow. "You can't offer that. You're criminals." "But I'm not," Elena said. I have contacts at the FBI. They've been investigating Marcus's death and the organ trafficking allegations. They'd love to have a witness who can confirm everything. You cooperate fully, and I'll make sure you get a deal. Elena, Dante said warningly. She ignored him, keeping her eyes on Sarah. You're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. Is it worth dying for a family that would sacrifice you in a heartbeat? Because that's what they did. They sent you here knowing Dante would catch you eventually. You were expendable to them. Sarah's composure cracked. That's not true. Then why did they let you get caught on camera? Why make it so obvious? They wanted Dante to find you. You're bait, Sarah. They're probably planning to attack again while Dante's distracted with interrogating you. Dante's phone buzzed. He looked at it, and his expression darkened. Luca just sent an alert. Movement detected on the north perimeter. Multiple vehicles approaching. See, Elena said to Sarah. They're using you, but you can choose differently. You can save yourself. Sarah looked between them, tears starting to stream down her face. If I talk, they'll kill my sister. My little sister. She's only 16, and she has nothing to do with any of this. But they'll kill her to punish me for betraying the family. We can protect her too, Elena said. Dante. He hesitated, then nodded. Tell us where she is. I'll have my people get her out before the Vitales know what's happening. Sarah broke. She gave them an address, and Dante immediately sent men to retrieve the girl. Then Sarah started talking. She told them everything. The full scope of the organ trafficking operation that had been running for over 5 years. The names of doctors, nurses, and administrators involved at 3 different hospitals. The identities of wealthy clients who'd purchased organs. The offshore accounts where the money was hidden. But then she said something that made Elena's blood run cold. Marcus wasn't the one who started the operation. He was recruited into it 3 years ago by the chief surgeon. The real mastermind behind everything. Who? Dante demanded. Dr. James Rodriguez. Elena's father. The room spun. Elena grabbed the edge of a table to steady herself. My father died when I was 10. Car accident. Sarah shook her head. He faked his death. He's been living under an assumed identity, running the medical side of the Vitali operation. He's the one who personally selects which patients to target. He's brilliant at it. Knows exactly who to choose, people who won't be missed or whose deaths can be easily explained. You're lying, Elena whispered. I have proof. Photos. Documents with his signature. He's very much alive, Elena. And he knows you're here with Moretti. In fact, he's the one who ordered the attack on the mansion. Elena couldn't breathe. Her father, the man she'd mourned for 16 years, was alive. And he was a monster who'd created the operation that had trapped her with Marcus. Dante's hand settled on her shoulder, grounding her. Where is he? He moves around, but his main base is a private clinic in Riverside. The Vitales use it for the actual organ harvesting. It's disguised as a cosmetic surgery center. An explosion rocked the mansion. The lights flickered. Gunfire erupted upstairs. They're here, Dante said. He pulled out his gun and handed another to Elena. Do you remember how to use this? Elena had been practicing at his shooting range over the past few days. She nodded and took the weapon with shaking hands. Luca, Dante shouted into his radio. Status. 20+ attackers, boss. They brought heavy weapons this time. We're holding them off, but they're pushing hard toward the basement. I think they're trying to get to the girl. Or to silence her, Dante said. He looked at Sarah. You're coming with us. If your information is good, you'll live. If you lied, you die first. They moved through the basement corridors, heading for the secure exit. Elena could hear the battle raging above them, getting closer. Her father was alive. Her father had orchestrated everything. The thought kept repeating in her mind, making it hard to focus. They were almost to the exit when the ceiling collapsed in front of them. Debris and dust filled the air. Through the smoke, figures emerged. Armed men, at least 6 of them. And leading them was a man Elena recognized from old photographs. Older now, graying hair, harder eyes. But unmistakably her father. Hello, sweetheart, James Rodriguez said, pointing a gun directly at Elena's heart. We need to have a family reunion. Chapter 7. Elena stared at the man who was supposed to be dead. Her father, James Rodriguez. The man whose grave she had visited every year on his birthday. The man she had cried for, mourned for, missed with an aching emptiness that never fully healed. He was alive, and he was pointing a gun at her. You look so much like your mother, James said, his voice almost tender. Same eyes. Same stubborn chin. I've been watching you for years, Elena. Watching you grow up from a distance. You let me think you were dead. Elena's voice shook. I was 10 years old. I cried at your funeral. I know. I was there, actually. In the back row, wearing sunglasses and a hat. I heard your speech about what a hero I was. It was touching. Dante shifted slightly beside Elena, his hand moving toward his weapon. 3 of the armed men immediately aimed at him. I wouldn't, Moretti, James said calmly. My men are excellent shots. You'd be dead before you cleared your holster. Why? Elena asked. Why fake your death? Why abandon us? James sighed like he was explaining something simple to a child. Because your mother wanted me to stop. She found out about my side business, the organ procurement. She threatened to go to the police. Said she'd rather be poor than married to a monster. So I gave her what she wanted. I disappeared. She got the life insurance money. You got a dead hero for a father, and I got to continue my work without interference. Your work? Elena's voice rose. You mean murdering people and selling their organs? Such dramatic language. I prefer to think of it as resource allocation. There are people dying who need organs. There are other people whose organs are going to waste. I simply facilitate the connection. For a profit, yes, but it's a service. You're insane. I'm practical. And I'm very good at what I do. Good enough that the Vitali family pays me extremely well. Good enough that I've built an empire. James took a step closer. You could have been part of it, Elena. You're smart. You're a nurse. You have the skills. When Marcus told me about you, I thought perhaps we could work together eventually. A family business. Elena felt sick. You knew about Marcus? About what he was doing to me? Of course. I'm the one who introduced him to you. Remember that hospital charity event 4 years ago? The one where you two met? I arranged that. I needed someone close to you, someone who could keep an eye on my daughter. Make sure you weren't going to be a problem like your mother was. You set me up with an abuser. Your own daughter. James shrugged. Marcus had his flaws, I'll admit. He wasn't supposed to be so rough with you. That wasn't part of the plan. But he served his purpose. He kept you contained. Under control. Dante's voice was deadly quiet. You're a dead man. Am I? Because from where I'm standing, I have 6 guns pointed at you and none pointed at me. I think I'm doing fine, Moretti. James turned his attention back to Elena. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to come with me. We're going to leave here together, and you're going to help me with something. I'd rather die. Would you? Even if it means Moretti dies too? Because that's the choice. Come with me willingly, or I kill him right now in front of you. Then I kill his men. Then I burn this entire mansion to the ground with everyone in it. Including your mother. Elena's breath caught. You wouldn't. I absolutely would. I've killed hundreds of people, Elena. What's a few dozen more? He checked his watch. You have 10 seconds to decide. Come with me, or watch everyone you care about die. Don't do it, Dante said. Elena, don't. 10, 9, 8. Elena looked at Dante. In his eyes, she saw everything he couldn't say out loud. She saw his fear for her. His rage at being helpless. His desperate wish that there was another way. 7, 6, 5. She thought about her mother upstairs, still recovering. About Sarah's teenage sister who they had just rescued. About all of Dante's men fighting to protect them. 4, 3. Okay, Elena said. I'll go with you. Just don't hurt anyone. Elena, no. Dante lunged forward. One of the armed men slammed the butt of his rifle into Dante's head. He went down hard, blood streaming from his temple. Dante! Elena tried to go to him, but her father grabbed her arm. He'll live. For now. As long as you cooperate. James pulled her toward the damaged exit. Let's go, sweetheart. We have so much to catch up on. The last thing Elena saw before they dragged her into the smoke-filled corridor was Dante on the ground, trying to push himself up, reaching for her with blood running down his face. Then the second explosion hit. This one was massive, directly above them. The entire ceiling came down. Elena felt her father's grip torn away as the blast threw her backward. She hit the wall hard, then everything went dark as debris buried her. When Elena opened her eyes, she couldn't see anything. Complete darkness. She tried to move, but something heavy pinned her chest. She could barely breathe. Each inhale was shallow and painful. Help, she tried to say, but it came out as a whisper. Dust filled her mouth. Then she heard it. Movement nearby. Someone digging through rubble. Elena. Dante's voice rough and strained. Elena, where are you? Here. I'm here. The sound of digging got closer. Then hands found her face in the darkness, brushing away debris. I've got you. Hold still. Dante worked systematically, removing chunks of concrete from her chest. Finally, she could breathe properly again. He pulled her up into a sitting position. Are you hurt? Elena took inventory. Everything ached, but nothing felt broken. I don't think so. You? I'll live. Can you stand? With his help, she got to her feet. Her ankle throbbed from earlier, but it held her weight. They stood in complete darkness, dust still settling around them. Dante pulled out his phone. The screen was cracked, but it still worked, providing a small amount of light. He shone it around their prison. They were in what remained of the basement corridor. Debris blocked both ends completely. Massive concrete slabs formed a small pocket around them, maybe 10 feet across. The air smelled like dust and smoke and something chemical. The exit's buried, Dante said quietly. Both directions. What about the others? Sarah? Your men? I don't know. The radio's dead. He tried it anyway, pressing the button. Nothing but static. Elena looked up at where the ceiling had been. Now it was just layers of rubble and twisted metal. How far down are we? Basement level. With at least 2 floors collapsed on top of us. Dante sat down slowly, his back against the wall. In the dim light from his phone, Elena could see blood still trickling from his head wound. Let me look at that. She knelt beside him, using the light to examine the gash. It's not too deep. Head wounds just bleed a lot. I'm fine. You're not fine. None of this is fine. Elena's hands shook as she tried to clean the wound with her sleeve. My father. He was alive this whole time. He set me up with Marcus. He planned everything. Elena. He watched me suffer for years. His own daughter. And he didn't care. He just wanted to use me. Elena. Dante caught her hands, stilling them. Look at me. She met his eyes in the darkness. We're going to get out of this, he said. My men know where we were. They'll dig us out. What if they can't? What if the whole building collapsed? What if everyone's dead? Then we dig ourselves out. Elena laughed, a sound on the edge of hysteria. With what? Our hands. Dante, there's tons of concrete above us. He didn't answer. They both knew the truth. They were trapped. No way out. And the air in their small pocket wouldn't last forever. Dante's phone buzzed suddenly. A text message somehow getting through. He opened it. It was from Luca. Building collapsed. Many casualties. Digging for survivors. Hold on, boss. See. Dante showed her the message. They're coming. How long will that take? How long do we have? Dante looked at their small space, calculating. In a pocket this size, with 2 people breathing, maybe 6 hours of air. 8 if we stay calm and don't exert ourselves. 6 hours. Okay. They can dig us out in 6 hours. Yes. But Elena heard the doubt in his voice. Saw it in his eyes. 6 hours might not be enough. The building had collapsed. There could be fires, gas leaks, structural instability. Rescue could take days. They might die down here in the darkness. Elena sat beside Dante, her shoulder pressed against his. His hand found hers in the darkness and held on tight. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? For bringing all this chaos into your life. You answered one text message, and now you're buried alive because of me. Best text I ever received, Dante said softly. Despite everything, Elena smiled. You're insane. Probably. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the occasional creak and groan of the unstable rubble above them. The darkness was complete now. Dante had turned off his phone to save the battery. Dante, Elena said eventually. Yeah. If we don't make it out of here, I want you to know something. Don't talk like that. Listen. Please. She squeezed his hand. You saved my life. Not just at the wedding. You saved me from giving up. When I sent that text, I had nothing left. No hope. No future. Just fear and pain. But you answered. You kept me talking. You made me believe I could survive. Whatever happens now, you gave me that gift. You made me feel human again. Dante was quiet for so long that Elena thought maybe he'd fallen asleep. Then his voice came out of the darkness, raw and honest in a way she'd never heard before. When I got your first message, I thought it was a wrong number. I almost deleted it. But something made me read it. And when I did, when I read about what you were going through, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt angry. Not the cold anger I use for business. Real anger. The kind that demanded I do something. Why? Because 15 years ago, my little sister sent me a text. She said our father was hurting her. Said she needed help. I was in a meeting. I saw the message, but I thought I'd deal with it later. It couldn't be that serious, right? I'd talked to her after my meeting. Elena's chest tightened. 3 hours later, she was dead. My father killed her in a rage and made it look like an accident. And I could have stopped it if I'd just answered her text. If I'd taken her seriously. If I'd been there. Dante, that's not your fault. Isn't it? I had one job as her older brother. Protect her. And I failed. So when your message came, when I read about someone in pain reaching out for help, I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't fail again. You became my second chance, Elena. My chance to do what I should have done for my sister. Elena's eyes burned with tears. Is that all I am? A replacement for your sister? No. His hand tightened on hers. At first, maybe. But not anymore. Somewhere between the texts and the wedding and the attack on the mansion, you became something more. You became the person I think about when I wake up. The reason I check my phone constantly. The face I want to see when I come home. You became everything. I'm falling in love with you, Elena said, the words escaping before she could stop them. And I know that's crazy. I barely know you. We've known each other for weeks. But I can't help it. When you got shot protecting me, when I thought you might die, I realized that somehow you'd become the most important person in my world. Elena, I know it's stupid. You're a Mafia king. I'm a nurse. We come from completely different worlds. And maybe I just have Stockholm Syndrome or something. Maybe this is all just trauma bonding and survival instinct. But it feels real. You feel real. In the darkness, Dante's hand released hers. For a moment, Elena thought she'd said too much, scared him away. Then she felt his hands cup her face, his thumbs brushing away her tears. It's not trauma. It's not Stockholm Syndrome. It's just us. Two broken people who found each other in the dark. Then he kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate and hungry and full of everything they'd been holding back. Elena kissed him back with equal intensity, her hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer. They were trapped underground with limited air and no guarantee of rescue, and none of it mattered because in this moment, they had each other. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested his forehead against hers. When we get out of here, he said. If we get out of here. When? When we get out of here, I'm going to take you somewhere safe. Somewhere far from all this violence and chaos. And I'm going to spend every day proving that what we have is real. Promise. I promise. Elena believed him. Maybe that made her foolish. Maybe she was being naive. But sitting in the darkness with Dante's arms around her, she believed in impossible things. They held each other as the air slowly grew thinner. As the hours passed in the darkness. As their breathing became labored and their words came slower. Tell me something good, Elena whispered when speaking became difficult. Tell me about something beautiful you've seen. You. Dante's voice was fading. The sunset photo you sent me. Your smile when you thought I wasn't looking. The way you refused to give up even when everything was falling apart. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, Elena Rodriguez. Flatterer. Truth teller. Elena's eyes were growing heavy. The air felt thick and wrong. She knew what was happening. They were running out of oxygen. Soon they would pass out. And if rescue didn't come soon after that, they wouldn't wake up. Dante. I'm scared. Me too. His arms tightened around her. But at least we're together. Yeah. At least we're together. Elena's consciousness started to slip away. The darkness became absolute. She couldn't tell if her eyes were open or closed anymore. Couldn't feel anything except Dante's heartbeat against her cheek, strong and steady and then slowly weakening. This was it. This was how it ended. Not at Marcus's hands. Not at her father's. But buried in the darkness with the man who'd tried to save her. It wasn't fair. They'd just found each other. They'd just admitted what they meant to each other. They deserved more time. But life wasn't fair. Elena had learned that lesson well. Her last conscious thought was a prayer. Not for herself. For Dante. That somehow, someway he would survive this. That he would get his second chance. That he would find peace. Then the darkness took her completely, and Elena Rodriguez knew nothing more. Chapter 8. Elena woke to the sound of beeping machines and the smell of antiseptic. Her eyes felt heavy, stuck together with sleep. Every muscle in her body ached like she'd been hit by a truck. She tried to remember where she was, what had happened. The collapse. The darkness. Dante's arms around her as the air ran out. Her eyes snapped open. She was in a hospital room, and 4 in her arm, monitors tracking her vitals. Sunlight streamed through the window. How long had she been unconscious? You're awake. A nurse appeared at her bedside, smiling warmly. Don't try to sit up too quickly. You've been through quite an ordeal. Where am I? St. Mary's Hospital. You were brought in 3 days ago. Severe oxygen deprivation, dehydration, multiple contusions. You're lucky to be alive. 3 days. Elena's mind reeled. There was a man with me. Dante. Is he okay? The nurse's smile faltered slightly. I'll get the doctor. He can answer your questions better than I can. She left before Elena could ask anything else. Elena tried to sit up despite the warning, ignoring the protests from her sore muscles. She needed to know what happened. Needed to know if Dante survived. The door opened again. But it wasn't the doctor who walked in. It was her father. Elena's blood turned to ice. James Rodriguez stood in the doorway wearing an expensive suit, looking perfectly calm and composed. Like he hadn't tried to kidnap her. Like he hadn't caused a building to collapse. Get out, Elena said, her voice hoarse. Now is that any way to greet your father? I came to check on you. He closed the door behind him and pulled a chair up to her bedside. You gave us quite a scare, sweetheart. Where's Dante? What did you do to him? Dante Moretti is alive, if that's what you're worried about. They pulled him out about 20 minutes after they found you. He's in another hospital under heavy guard. Multiple law enforcement agencies are very interested in speaking with him about his criminal activities. Relief flooded through Elena so intensely she felt dizzy. He was alive. Dante was alive. Why are you here? She asked. Because we need to talk. About your future. About what happens next. James leaned back in the chair, crossing his legs casually. The FBI is building a case against the Vitali family. Thanks to Sarah's testimony and the evidence they recovered from Marcus's files, they're dismantling the entire organ trafficking operation. It's quite impressive, really. They're calling it the biggest medical crime bust in decades. Good. You'll go to prison where you belong. James smiled. That's the interesting part. You see, I've been thinking about retirement anyway. This business has gotten too complicated, too risky. So I made a deal. What kind of deal? I'm turning state's evidence. Testifying against the Vitales, against everyone involved in the operation. In exchange, I get immunity and witness protection. A new identity, a comfortable retirement somewhere sunny. The FBI was very eager to accept my offer once they saw how much I knew. Elena stared at him in disbelief. You're getting away with it. After everything you've done, you're just walking away free. That's how the system works, sweetheart. The person who talks first gets the best deal. I've already given them names, locations, bank account numbers. By this time next week, the Vitali family will be in custody, and I'll be on a beach somewhere drinking margaritas. You're a monster. I'm a survivor. There's a difference. James leaned forward, his expression hardening. And here's where you come in. The FBI wants to talk to you too. About what you witnessed. About Marcus, about the Vitales, about everything. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. I'll tell them the truth. I'm sure you will. But here's the thing. When they ask you about me, about my involvement, I need you to be smart about what you say. You want me to lie for you. I want you to remember that I'm still your father. That I kept you alive all these years. That without me, Marcus would have killed you months ago. Elena laughed bitterly. You set me up with Marcus in the first place. You used him to control me. And yet you're alive. Seems like it worked out. James stood up, straightening his jacket. Think about it carefully, Elena. You can tell the FBI everything and destroy my deal, which means I go to prison and the Vitales lawyers find some technicality to get them off. Or you can be vague about my involvement, let my testimony put away the real monsters, and everyone wins. Except for all the people you murdered. Water under the bridge. He walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. Your boyfriend, Dante Moretti? The FBI has enough evidence to put him away for 20 years minimum. Racketeering, murder, illegal weapons trafficking, the list goes on. Unless, of course, someone with credibility vouches for his character. Someone like a victim he saved. Someone like you. Elena's chest tightened. What are you saying? I'm saying you have leverage. If you cooperate with my deal, stay quiet about certain details, I can make sure the prosecutors go easy on Moretti. Maybe he does 5 years instead of 20. Maybe he even gets house arrest. But if you cause problems for me, if you try to paint me as the villain, then I make sure every charge against Moretti sticks. He'll die in prison. You're blackmailing me. Again. Just like Marcus did. I prefer to think of it as giving you options. You're a smart girl, Elena. You'll make the right choice. James opened the door. The FBI will be here this afternoon to take your statement. I'll be very interested to hear what you tell them. He left, and Elena was alone again with her racing thoughts. This couldn't be happening. Her father was going to walk away free while threatening to destroy Dante if she didn't cooperate. It was Marcus all over again. Different face, same manipulation. The door opened once more. This time it was a woman in a professional suit, holding a badge. Ms. Rodriguez? I'm Special Agent Martinez with the FBI. I know you just woke up, but I need to ask you some questions if you're feeling up to it. I want to see Dante Moretti first. Agent Martinez shook her head. That's not possible right now. Mr. Moretti is in federal custody. He's not allowed visitors except for his lawyer. Then I want to speak to my own lawyer before I answer any questions. That's your right, of course. But I should tell you that we're offering immunity to witnesses who cooperate fully. The sooner you talk to us, the better your situation becomes. Elena studied the agent's face. She seemed honest, professional. Not like someone who would participate in James's manipulations. But could Elena trust her? Could she trust anyone? My father was here, Elena said carefully. Yes, Dr. Rodriguez has been very helpful to our investigation. His testimony will be crucial in dismantling the Vitali organization. Do you know what he did? What he really did? Agent Martinez's expression didn't change. We know he was involved in the organ trafficking operation. He's providing evidence against the higher-level operators in exchange for immunity. It's a standard prosecution strategy. He let his daughter get abused for years. He faked his own death. He murdered people. We can only prosecute the crimes we can prove, Ms. Rodriguez. And right now, we need his testimony to make the bigger case. I know it's not ideal, but sometimes justice requires compromise. It's not justice at all. Maybe not. But it's the system we have. Agent Martinez pulled out a recording device. Now, I really do need your statement. Let's start with how you first became aware of the organ trafficking operation. Elena took a deep breath. She thought about Dante, somewhere in another hospital, or maybe already in a cell. She thought about all the victims of her father's operation. She thought about the choice in front of her. Tell the truth and destroy her father's deal, but risk Dante spending decades in prison. Or play along with her father's manipulation and let him walk free. It was an impossible choice. Both options made her sick. Before I say anything, Elena said slowly, I need to know something. What evidence do you have against Dante Moretti? Agent Martinez hesitated. I can't discuss an ongoing investigation. He saved my life. Multiple times. He's the reason I'm alive to even give you this statement. Doesn't that count for something? Mr. Moretti is a known criminal with suspected ties to numerous illegal activities. Whatever his personal feelings for you might be, that doesn't erase his crimes. What if he was trying to stop the organ trafficking? What if that's why he got involved? Is that what you're saying happened? Elena closed her eyes. This was it. The moment where she had to choose. Truth or lies. Justice or mercy. Her father's freedom or Dante's. The door burst open suddenly. A doctor rushed in, looking flustered. Agent Martinez, I'm sorry, but you need to leave. Ms. Rodriguez's vitals are unstable. She needs rest, not interrogation. We're almost done here. No, you're done now. Out. This patient nearly died 3 days ago. She needs medical care, not stress. Agent Martinez looked like she wanted to argue, but the doctor stood firm. Finally, the agent nodded and put away her recording device. We'll continue this conversation later, Ms. Rodriguez. Get some rest. After she left, the doctor checked Elena's monitors, adjusted her and gave her a gentle smile. Thank you, Elena said. You looked like you needed a rescue. The doctor glanced at the door, then back at Elena. I'm Dr. Sarah Chin. I'm on Dante Moretti's payroll. Elena's eyes widened. You work for him? I'm a real doctor, fully licensed and everything. But yes, I provide medical services for Dante's organization when needed. He sent me here to watch over you. To make sure you're safe and that no one pressures you before you're ready. He's in federal custody. How did he send you? Dr. Chin smiled. Dante Moretti has a very long reach, even from a hospital bed. He wanted me to give you a message. He says don't worry about him. Don't make any deals or compromises because of him. He says tell the truth, whatever that means to you, and let the pieces fall where they may. His words, not mine. Elena felt tears burning her eyes. Even now, Even facing decades in prison, Dante was trying to protect her, trying to free her from having to make an impossible choice. I need to see him, Elena said. Please. There has to be a way. There might be. But not today. Today you need to rest and recover. Tomorrow we'll figure out how to get you to him. Dr. Chen squeezed her hand. He's going to be okay, Elena. And so are you. I promise. After the doctor left, Elena lay back against the pillows, staring at the ceiling. Her father's threats echoed in her mind. The FBI's questions waited for her. Dante was in custody facing serious charges. And somewhere in all this chaos, Elena had to find a way to do the right thing without destroying the man she loved. She thought about the girl who had sent that desperate text message weeks ago. That terrified, broken girl who had given up hope. She'd come so far since then. Survived so much. She wasn't that helpless victim anymore. Dante had taught her that. He'd shown her she was strong enough to fight back. Strong enough to stand up to her abusers. Strong enough to choose her own path. So that's what she would do. Elena closed her eyes and started planning. Her father thought he had her trapped with his threats and manipulations. He thought she would fold like she always did, choose the path of least resistance, protect herself at the cost of justice. But he was wrong. Elena Rodriguez was done being manipulated, done being controlled, done choosing survival over what was right. Her father wanted her to lie to the FBI? Fine. She'd talk to them. But she'd tell them everything. Every crime her father committed. Every victim she knew about. Every detail that could burn down his immunity deal and put him exactly where he belonged. And if that meant Dante faced harsher charges, then she'd deal with that too. She'd fight for him in court. She'd testify about how he saved her life, how he protected her, how he'd taken down Marcus's operation. She'd find a way to show them that Dante Moretti was more than just a criminal. For the first time since waking up, Elena felt a sense of calm settle over her. She knew what she had to do. It wouldn't be easy. It might cost her everything, but it would be the truth. And after years of living in lies, truth was the only thing worth fighting for. Chapter 9. Elena had been in the warehouse for 2 days. At least she thought it was 2 days. Time became meaningless in the darkness between interrogations. Her father's deal with the FBI had fallen apart spectacularly. Elena had told Agent Martinez everything, holding nothing back. Every crime, every victim, every detail about James Rodriguez's role in the organ trafficking operation. The immunity deal was revoked within hours. Her father had vanished before they could arrest him. And he had run straight to the Vitales. Now Elena was paying the price for her honesty. She sat in a metal chair in the center of an empty room, her hands zip-tied behind her back. Blood dripped from her split lip onto her shirt. Her left eye was swollen shut. 3 broken ribs made every breath agony. Victor Vitali, the head of the family, stood in front of her. He was older than she expected, maybe 60, with gray hair and cold eyes that showed no emotion as he watched his men hurt her. Let's try this again, Victor said calmly. Dante Moretti's operations. I want locations, names, financial accounts. Everything you know. I already told you, Elena said through swollen lips. I don't know anything about his business. You lived in his mansion for weeks. You're telling me he never discussed his operations with you. He kept me separate from all that. He was protecting me, not recruiting me. Victor nodded to one of his men. The punch came fast, catching Elena in the stomach. She doubled over as much as the restraints allowed, gasping for air around her broken ribs. You're lying. Women like you always know more than they admit. They pillow talk, they overhear conversations, they see documents left on desks. Victor crouched down to her level. I don't want to keep hurting you, Elena. Just tell me what I need to know. Even if I knew anything, I wouldn't tell you. You're going to kill me anyway. True, but I can make your death quick and painless, or I can make it last for days. Your choice. The door opened and James Rodriguez walked in. Elena's father looked tired, stressed. His expensive suit was wrinkled and his hair was messy. Good. She hoped he was suffering. Is she talking yet? James asked. Your daughter is remarkably stubborn. I can see where she gets it from. Victor stood up. Perhaps you can convince her to cooperate. James approached Elena slowly. For a moment, she thought she saw something like regret in his eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by cold calculation. Elena, please. Just tell them what they want to know. This doesn't have to continue. You did this, Elena said. You brought me here. Your own daughter. You destroyed my deal. I would have been safe, set for life. But you had to play hero, Had to tell the FBI everything. Now we're both in danger. We're not the same. I told the truth. You're just trying to save yourself. James's hand cracked across her face. The blow snapped her head to the side, making her vision blur. Stupid girl. Always so self-righteous, just like your mother. Look where that righteousness got her. Dead from cancer while I'm alive and free. Elena's vision cleared. She looked at her father through her one good eye. Mom's dead. 3 months ago. I made sure she got just enough of the real chemotherapy to actually give her cancer. Poetic, don't you think? She wanted to stop me, to expose me. So I gave her exactly what she feared. Something broke inside Elena. Not her spirit or her will to survive. Something deeper. The last tiny piece of her that had hoped her father might still have some humanity left. You're a monster, she whispered. I'm a realist. And right now, the reality is that you either cooperate or you suffer. James turned to Victor. I have a better idea. Moretti cares about her. Use her as bait. Draw him out. You can take down his entire operation when he comes to rescue her. Victor considered this. Moretti's in federal custody. Please. You think a jail cell can hold Dante Moretti? He has resources, connections. He'll find a way out if he knows she's in danger. And when he does, you'll be ready. Elena's heart sank. They were going to use her to trap Dante. And he would come. She knew he would. He'd risk everything to save her, and it would get him killed. No, she said. Don't. Dante, if you can hear this somehow, don't come. It's a trap. Stay away. James laughed. He can't hear you. But don't worry. We'll make sure he gets the message that you're here. We'll even send him proof. He nodded to one of the guards. Her fingers should do nicely. Elena's blood turned cold as the guard pulled out a knife. 50 miles away, in a secure federal facility, Dante Moretti sat in an interrogation room across from 2 FBI agents. His hands were cuffed to the table. He looked calm, almost bored, as they listed his alleged crimes. Racketeering, money laundering, illegal weapons trafficking, murder for hire. Agent Martinez read from a file. We have witnesses, financial records, recorded conversations. You're looking at life in prison, Mr. Moretti. Then why are we talking? Charge me and let's go to trial. Because we want bigger fish. You give us information on the other crime families in the city, you cooperate fully, and maybe we can work out a deal. Not interested. The other agent, a man named Foster, leaned forward. You're willing to throw your life away? For what? Some misguided sense of honor among thieves. I don't expect you to understand. Agent Martinez's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, frowned, then showed the screen to her partner. Foster's expression darkened. What? Dante asked, his instincts prickling. Elena Rodriguez. She's missing from the hospital. Security footage shows 3 men taking her out through a service entrance 2 hours ago. She didn't go willingly. Dante's carefully controlled expression cracked. What hospital? Which one? St. Mary's. Your doctor friend reported it, but by the time security reviewed the footage, they were long gone. Dante stood up so fast his chair fell backward. The chains connecting his cuffs to the table went taut. You need to find her. Now. The Vitales have her. Sit down, Mr. Moretti. You don't understand. They'll torture her for information about my operations. They'll kill her when they're done. You need to mobilize every resource you have. We don't take orders from criminals, Foster said coldly. Dante's phone, which they had confiscated, started buzzing on the table. Martinez picked it up. You have a message. Video file from an unknown number. Play it. We can't let you access your phone. Then you play it. If it's about Elena, I need to see it. Martinez and Foster exchanged glances. Finally, Martinez opened the video and turned the phone so Dante could see the screen. Elena appeared on the video, tied to a chair, her face battered and bloody. Dante's hands clenched into fists so tight his knuckles went white. Victor Vitali's voice came from off-camera. Dante Moretti, as you can see, we have something of yours. You have 24 hours to come to the location we're sending you. Come alone, unarmed, and surrender yourself to us. Do this, and the girl goes free. Refuse, and we'll send her back to you in pieces. The video ended. Dante looked at the 2 agents. Let me go. Absolutely not. You don't have enough to hold me. My lawyer already filed the paperwork. Judge Harper is reviewing my bail application right now. You know as well as I do that I'll be out in a few hours anyway. And you'll walk right into their trap, Martinez said. Yes. That's suicide. That's my choice. Dante's voice was steel. Elena Rodriguez is innocent. She's only in danger because she helped you build your case. The FBI put her at risk. Now you're going to let me go fix it." Foster shook his head. "Even if we wanted to help you, we can't authorize a civilian rescue operation. This is a federal case now. Then work faster. Because in 24 hours, Elena dies. And if that happens, I promise you both that every cooperation, every deal, every piece of testimony you hope to get from me disappears. I will burn down this entire city before I let her death go unanswered." The door opened and a man in an expensive suit walked in. Dante's lawyer, Richard Chen. "My client is being released immediately. Judge Harper approved bail 20 minutes ago. The paperwork is being processed now." Richard looked at the agents with barely concealed contempt. "Unless you want to explain to a federal judge why you're illegally detaining a man who just posted a $5 million bond." Martinez stood reluctantly. "Fine. But Mr. Moretti, if you interfere with our investigation or commit any crimes, your bail is revoked and you go straight back into custody." "Understood." Dante didn't answer. He was already planning. 2 hours later, Dante stood in the secure command center he maintained in an underground facility outside the city. Luca and 30 of his best men surrounded a large table covered with maps and building schematics. "The warehouse is here," Luca pointed to a location on the map. "Old industrial district. The Vitales have owned it for years. Heavy security, multiple exits, probably booby-trapped. How many men inside?" "Unknown. At least 20. Maybe more." Dante studied the layout. It was a death trap. The Vitales would have shooters on the roofs of surrounding buildings. They'd have explosives rigged. They wanted him to walk in so they could kill him and Elena together. He was going to do it anyway. "We hit them tonight. Full assault. I want sniper teams on every building within 2 blocks. I want breach teams ready at all 4 entrances. And I want extraction ready the second we have Elena." "Boss," Luca said carefully. "This is suicide. They're expecting you. They'll have prepared for everything." "I know. We could wait, gather more intelligence, find a better opening. We don't have time. Every hour we wait is another hour they're hurting her." Dante's voice was hard. "I'm going in. Anyone who wants to walk away, do it now. No judgment." Not a single man moved. Luca nodded slowly. "Then we all go. But we do this smart. I've been thinking about the layout. If we create a diversion at the north entrance, draw their forces there, we might be able to breach the south wall with minimal resistance." "Show me." They spent the next hour planning every detail. Dante called in favors from allied families. He liquidated assets to hire additional mercenaries. He prepared for war. His phone buzzed. Another video from the Vitales. This time it showed Elena's hand on a table. A man held a knife over her little finger. Victor's voice again. 16 hours left, Moretti. We're sending you a reminder of what's at stake." The knife came down. Elena's scream filled the small command center. Dante threw his phone across the room. It shattered against the concrete wall. Every man in the room went silent. "Change of plans," Dante said, his voice deadly quiet. "We go now. Right now. Get everyone in position. I don't care if we're not ready. We move in 30 minutes. "Boss, wait," Luca said. "There's something else. Something you need to know before we do this." "What?" Luca pulled out a folder and handed it to Dante. Inside were photographs. Surveillance photos of a young woman with dark hair and eyes that looked hauntingly familiar. "Who is this?" Dante asked, though something in his chest already knew. "Her name is Sofia Moretti. Your sister." The world stopped. "My sister is dead. I went to her funeral 15 years ago. The body in the casket wasn't hers. We've been investigating since Elena mentioned the Vitales human trafficking operations. Boss, they didn't kill your sister. They took her. They've been holding her all these years." Dante stared at the photograph. Sofia, his baby sister who he'd failed to save. Alive. After 15 years of guilt and grief, she was alive. Where is she? That's the problem. She's being held in a secure facility. We've narrowed it down to 3 possible locations. We have teams ready to hit all 3 simultaneously. But boss, if we commit all our resources to rescuing Elena tonight, we won't have enough men to save your sister. And if the Vitales realize we know about Sofia, they'll kill her immediately. Dante looked at the photograph of his sister, then at the shattered remains of his phone that had just shown him Elena being tortured. 2 women, both in mortal danger, both depending on him. And he could only save one. How long to confirm Sofia's location? Dante asked quietly. Another 8 hours minimum. And Elena? Based on the video timestamps, she has maybe 12 hours before they kill her. It was impossible. If he saved Elena now, Sophia would die. If he waited to save Sophia, Elena would die. There was no scenario where both women survived. Boss! Luca's voice was gentle. What are your orders? Dante closed his eyes. He thought about the little girl who used to follow him everywhere, who trusted him to protect her. He thought about the woman who'd sent him a desperate text message and changed everything. He thought about 15 years of guilt. He thought about 3 weeks of hope. When he opened his eyes, his decision was made. Call everyone. Every family we have agreements with. Every mercenary we've ever hired. Every favor we're owed. I want 200 men ready to move within the hour. Boss, that's impossible. We can't mobilize that many people that fast. Then we try the impossible. Because I'm not choosing between them, Luca. I'm saving both. We hit the Vitali warehouse and all 3 possible locations where Sophia might be held. Simultaneously. Overwhelming force at every target. We don't have enough men? Then we make enough. Hire more. Pay whatever it costs. Mortgage everything I own if you have to. That will leave your organization completely exposed. The other families will see it as weakness. I don't care. Let them come. Let everyone come. Those 2 women are alive because of me. Sophia because I failed her. Elena because I promised to protect her. I'm not failing again. Luca smiled grimly. Then let's go to war. Dante looked at the photograph of his sister one more time. Then at the map showing the warehouse where Elena was being held. I'm coming, he whispered. Both of you. Just hold on a little longer. I'm coming. Chapter 10. The warehouse exploded into chaos exactly at midnight. Dante's forces hit all 4 sides simultaneously. Flashbangs shattered windows. Smoke grenades filled the air. Gunfire erupted from every direction as his men poured into the building. Inside, Elena heard the explosions and knew. Dante had come for her. Despite the trap. Despite the impossible odds. He'd come. Victor Vitali grabbed her by the hair, pulling her head back as he pressed a gun to her temple. Moretti, I know you're here. Show yourself or she dies. The shooting stopped. An eerie silence fell over the warehouse. Then Dante's voice cut through the smoke. Let her go, Victor. This is between you and me. Come out where I can see you. Dante emerged from the smoke, hands raised, walking slowly toward the center of the warehouse where Victor held Elena. Blood stained his shirt from at least 2 wounds, but he walked steady and sure. His eyes never left Elena's face. I'm here. Let her go. You think I'm stupid? The moment I release her, your men kill me. Probably. But you're dead either way. The question is whether you take her with you or let her walk out of here. Victor's hand shook slightly on the gun. He was surrounded, outgunned, and he knew it. But he was still a Vitali. Still proud. Still stupid enough to think he could win. Your sister says hello, by the way, Victor said with a cruel smile. Sophia. That's her name, right? Sweet girl. She's been asking about you for 15 years. Dante's expression didn't change, but Elena saw his jaw tighten. My men are hitting your facility right now, Dante said. In about 5 minutes, Sophia will be free. You've lost, Victor. All you're doing now is deciding how you go out. Then I go out taking something you love. Victor's finger tightened on the trigger. Elena moved without thinking. She threw her head backward into Victor's face, feeling his nose crunch. His grip loosened for just a second. It was enough. She dropped to the floor as gunfire erupted. Victor fell, at least 6 bullets hitting him before his body hit the ground. Elena covered her head as the shooting continued around her. Vitali men trying to fight back. Dante's forces overwhelming them. Then strong hands lifted her up. Dante's arms wrapped around her, shielding her body with his as he carried her out of the warehouse into the cold night air. I've got you, he said, the same words he'd said at the church. You're safe now. Elena clung to him, shaking. Her missing finger throbbed with phantom pain. Her broken ribs screamed. But she was alive. They were both alive. Dante set her down gently beside a waiting ambulance. Paramedics rushed over, but he held up a hand to stop them. Are you okay? He asked Elena, his hands cupping her face with infinite gentleness. Are you? You've been shot. Twice. It's not important. Elena, I need to go. My sister. She's at another location. I need to be there when they bring her out. Then go. Go get your sister. He kissed her forehead. Then he was gone, climbing into a waiting car that sped off into the night. Elena let the paramedics work on her injuries as police sirens filled the air. Agent Martinez appeared beside the ambulance, looking simultaneously relieved and angry. "You just participated in a gang war," Martinez said. "Multiple felonies were committed here tonight. I was a hostage. Dante Moretti rescued me. That's my official statement. Elena, we both know it's more complicated than that. Maybe, but that's what happened from where I was sitting tied to a chair." Elena met the agent's eyes. "The Vitales kidnapped me. They tortured me. They were going to kill me. Dante saved my life. Again, you can charge him with whatever you want, but I'm going to testify to exactly that." Martinez sighed. "The federal prosecutor is going to have a field day with this case. Then they'll have to untangle it. I'm done being anyone's pawn or leverage or victim. I'm just a woman who survived. And I'm going home." Except Elena didn't have a home anymore. Her apartment had been seized as part of the investigation into Marcus. Her mother was dead, killed by her own father's poison. Everything she'd known was gone. The paramedics wanted to take her to the hospital, but Elena refused. Instead, she had them bandage her hand and ribs. Then she convinced Luca to drive her to the location where Dante had gone. It was another warehouse, this one on the waterfront. But unlike the battle she'd just escaped, this scene was quiet. Dante's men stood guard outside while emergency vehicles waited nearby. Elena found Dante standing alone near the entrance, staring at the building. She walked up beside him and took his hand. He squeezed it without looking away from the doors. "They found her 20 minutes ago," he said quietly. "She's inside with the medical team. They're checking her over before they bring her out. Luca says she's okay physically. But Elena, she's been held captive for 15 years. She was 17 when they took her. Now she's 32. Half her life stolen. She's alive. That's what matters. I should have found her sooner. Should have known she wasn't dead. Should have torn this city apart until I found her. You didn't know. None of this is your fault. I failed her once. I won't fail her again." The warehouse doors opened. A young woman emerged, wrapped in a blanket, supported by 2 medics. She had dark hair like Dante's, the same sharp features. But her eyes were older than they should be, marked by years of suffering. Those eyes found Dante immediately. She stopped walking. They stared at each other across the distance. "Dante!" Sophia's voice was hesitant, like she couldn't quite believe he was real. "Sophia." His voice broke on her name. Then they were running toward each other. Sophia crashed into Dante's arms, and they both fell to their knees, holding each other and crying. 15 years of grief and guilt and hope poured out in that embrace. Elena stood back, giving them space, tears running down her own face. This was what Dante had been fighting for all along. This moment, this reunion, the chance to save his sister when he'd failed before. After several minutes, Dante pulled back and looked at his sister's face like he was memorizing every detail. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't find you sooner. You found me. That's what matters. You came for me." Sophia's eyes moved to Elena. "Who is she?" "Someone important. Someone I want you to meet." Dante stood and brought Sophia over to where Elena waited. "Sophia, this is Elena Rodriguez. She's the reason I'm still alive. The reason I kept fighting. The reason I found you." Sophia studied Elena with those old eyes. Then she smiled, and for a moment she looked like the 17-year-old girl she should have been. "Thank you. For saving my brother. For giving him something to fight for." "He saved me first," Elena said. The next 3 months were a blur of recovery and rebuilding. The FBI's case against the Vitali family was massive. With testimony from Elena, Sarah, and dozens of other witnesses, they dismantled the entire operation. 27 people were arrested. The organ trafficking ring was shut down. Victims were identified and their families notified. James Rodriguez was found dead in a motel room in Nevada. Apparent suicide according to the police report, though Elena suspected Dante had a hand in it. She didn't ask. Some questions were better left unanswered. Dante faced federal charges, but his lawyer was excellent and the evidence was complicated. More importantly, Elena's testimony about how he'd saved her life and taken down the Vitales carried weight. The prosecutor eventually offered a deal. Dante would plead guilty to racketeering, pay massive fines, and serve 5 years of house arrest while cooperating with ongoing investigations into other crime families. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than life in prison. Elena returned to nursing, but she couldn't go back to the hospital. Too many memories, too much trauma. Instead, She did what she'd always dreamed of. She opened a clinic for abuse survivors, offering medical care and counseling and support. Dante's restitution payments funded it. His seized assets went to helping the people his organization had hurt over the years. Sophia moved into the mansion with Dante during his house arrest. She was in therapy 3 times a week, working through the trauma of her captivity. She had good days and bad days. But slowly, gradually, she was healing. She and Elena became close, 2 survivors helping each other navigate their new lives. Now, 3 months after the warehouse rescue, Elena stood on a beach watching the sunset. She'd driven 3 hours to get here, needing space to think, needing to figure out what came next. She heard footsteps in the sand behind her. She didn't turn around. She knew that walk, knew his presence like she knew her own heartbeat. "You're supposed to be under house arrest," Elena said as Dante came to stand beside her. "I got a day pass for good behavior. My lawyer argued I needed it for mental health reasons." He was quiet for a moment. "You've been avoiding me. I've been busy with the clinic." "Elena, look at me." She turned to face him. He looked different than the dangerous Mafia king who'd crashed her wedding. He wore simple jeans and a sweater. His hair was a little longer. His eyes were softer. He looked almost normal. "I'm scared," Elena admitted. "Of this. Of us. Everything that brought us together was trauma and violence and danger. Now that it's over, now that we're both safe and healing, I don't know if what we have is real. What if we were just clinging to each other to survive? What if without all the chaos, we realize we don't actually fit?" Dante took her hands in his. "Do you remember the night we were buried alive? What we talked about in the darkness? Every word. I meant what I said. You're not my second chance at saving my sister. You're not just someone I protected. You're the person who answered my text at 2 a.m. with honesty and vulnerability. You're the woman who refused to give up even when everything was falling apart. You're the nurse who saves people every day because you believe in helping others. You're funny and stubborn and brave, and you make me want to be better than I am. Dante, I'm broken. I have nightmares every night. I can't be in small spaces without panicking. I look at my missing finger, and I remember everything they did to me. I'm not some perfect woman who can save you or fix you. I don't want you to save me. I don't want you to fix me. I just want you to be with me. Broken pieces and all. We can heal together." Elena felt tears sliding down her face. "What if it's not enough? What if I can't love you the way you deserve?" Dante smiled. "You already do. You've been showing up for me every day for 3 months. Helping Sophia adjust. Supporting my recovery. Running your clinic. You think I don't see that? You think I don't notice that you still text me every night before bed? That you bring me coffee in the morning? That you hold my hand when the news talks about the trial? That's love, Elena. The quiet, everyday kind. The kind that lasts." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Elena's breath caught. "This isn't an engagement ring," Dante said, opening the box to reveal a simple silver band. "This is a promise ring. A promise that I'll wait as long as you need. A promise that I'll be here, in whatever way you're comfortable with. A promise that you're not alone and you never will be again." Elena looked at the ring, then at Dante's face. She thought about the terrified woman who'd sent a text to the wrong number months ago. She thought about everything they'd survived together. She thought about the future stretching out in front of them, uncertain but full of possibility. "I don't need you to wait," she said quietly. "What?" "I don't need forever to figure this out. I already know. You're the person I want to text when something good happens. You're the person I want beside me when things go wrong. You're home, Dante. Somehow, impossibly, you became home." She took the ring from the box and slid it onto her finger. Then she kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Dante was smiling wider than she'd ever seen. "So what now?" he asked. "Now we figure it out together. One day at a time. We help Sophia heal. We run the clinic. We deal with your legal problems. We have dinner and watch movies and argue about stupid things and learn how to be normal people who are maybe a little bit broken but trying anyway." "That sounds perfect." They stood on the beach as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink and gold. Elena's phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out and saw a notification for their original text conversation from months ago. She'd never deleted it. Had saved it under a contact name that made her smile every time she saw it. "My savior," with a heart emoji. She showed it to Dante. He laughed and pulled out his own phone, showing her his contact name for her. "My reason. We're so cheesy," Elena said. "Completely. I love it. They walked back down the beach hand in hand as darkness fell. Behind them was everything they'd survived. The abuse, the trafficking, the betrayals, the violence. Ahead was an uncertain future full of healing and hope and second chances. Elena Rodriguez had sent a desperate text to a wrong number in her darkest moment. That text had found Dante Moretti, a man as broken as she was. Together they'd survived the impossible. And now, finally, they were going to learn how to live. Not just survive. Not just exist. But really, truly live. Together. The end. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed Elena and Dante's journey, please subscribe to my channel for more heartwarming and emotional stories just like this one. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you thought. Your support means everything and helps me create more amazing content for you. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss when I upload a new story. See you in the next video.